everybody, hope you're all well. Shall we have a closer look at this week's tutorial? Would you believe these are actually acrylic beads? And they don't look it. You can get some wonderful acrylic beads. These are in the Facebook group now, and the good thing with the acrylic beads as well is they've got larger holes, so they're easier to thread for this project. And we've also got these freshwater shell pendants as well. You've got these metallized acrylic large hole beads and a nice adjustable macrame fastening. Now this is slightly different to the norm because we're using cotton, and you can't burn cotton like you can burn polyester. In fact, can't burn it, it will set light, so please don't try that. So we need to look at another way. But the other thing you could do is you could always use a button fastening at the back if you don't want the macrame. Okay, let me just show you the other sample. Now the other sample is the acrylic tiger's eye. So again, larger hole beads. They're mixed beads, so again they're available in the Facebook group. And this is one of the larger wooden pendants. This is the 1mm waxed cotton. It's got a nice finish to it. That's what we're going to use tonight. You need a darning needle or a thick needle, something along those lines. If you haven't got, maybe a cocktail stick would be okay. Large hole beads. You're going to need some scissors. You're also going to need your standard tools as well as we go. Now I would suggest thin wire so you can make your own needle to fit the large hole beads. And to do that, we just cut a length, turn a loop at the bottom, and then twist it. Now, I need about 30 inches of the cotton, but I'm going to cut an extra 15 to allow for the knots in there as well. So let's cut this first of all. Right, now the beads I'm going to use are the turquoise howlite acrylic, so they're not real turquoise howlite. I'm going to allow for the extender at the back, so I'm going to start about 6.5 inches down, and then I'm just going to do a double. When I say a double knot, I've just looped it in twice into that hole and then pull that. So that's the other end, that hasn't got a needle on it. And then I'm going to thread on my beads. Now there's something you need to think about, and that is if you've got the large hole beads, your knot's going to probably go straight inside those, so you need to think about what beads to have either side of that. So these are the 5.5mm acrylic. I'm going to have one of those and one of the turquoise, another one of the smaller beads. So basically you can do whatever pattern you like. But what I love, I'm not a great lover, as you all know, for pearl knotting. I'm getting used to it. It's not my favourite pastime. However, I do love knotting with the thicker thread. There's something very satisfying about it. So I'm going to pop another little bead on the end. You might have some larger hole beads that are glass, but generally you do find that the acrylic or the ceramic beads have got larger holes. So that's my little collection of beads, and I am just going to knot that once this time. I'm going to hold that circle that I've just made, pop my darning needle in and just shimmy that along like so. So that's our first one. And really, there's no right or wrong as to how to design it, as to how you want it. I'm going to follow similar lengths and designs as the other one, and I've got a gap of just over an inch in between. So I'm going to do another overhand knot. So let's just show you that, just like you were doing any sort of tying shoelaces, that sort of thing, and bring that in the middle. If you want to be accurate, obviously you can have your tape measure at handy. Personally, I find it easier to do the knots, to measure it, and then after that I just compare the lengths with each other. So there we go. You don't necessarily always need the darning needle, but they're certainly really handy to have. And next I'm going to have one of the gold acrylic either side of these. Now you see I'm using a set of pliers to just help it on its merry way. So that's where we're at so far. So the next one I'm going to do is the middle section. You can do one of two things. You can either pop your pendant on a ring in between, or you can pop a knot like this and have the pendant in between the knots. This time round I think I'm going to see how it sits without the knot. So I'm going to add a jump ring. So just in case people haven't used jump rings before, the slit needs to be at 12 o'clock. Flat nose pliers in your non-dominant hand and open them slightly with your chain nose pliers. Pop that on the ring, on your feature, and just close that up. Now if you've got enough time, what we can do is we can add a little bit of detail on there as well afterwards. So now we're just going to repeat that pattern and we'll be doing along the other side. Okay, let's have a little look at that. So that's our centre bit, then we've got that, and that, then that. But because they're large hole beads, super quick to do. Right, now I'm going to cross those over and I'm going to place a bit of sellotape one end and a bit of sellotape the other end. You can just about see that one. And then I'm going to cut, let's go for 15 inches. So we've got our length of cord, we start in the middle of the cord, go underneath these what we call lazy strands because they don't do anything in this weave. We're going to bring that over those two and form a P shape. and then we are going to bring this one over the top, and then with the end we're going to bring that underneath the lazy strands and under and up through that loop, and we're going to pull that, and I'm going to go in closer so that you can see what I'm doing a bit more clearly. If you can see clearly, you've got our little Humpty back bridge on here. That means that we start our next move on the same side as the Humpty back bridge. We're going to form sort of part of a Q shape. That goes over this side, then we pick this one up, goes over that strand, underneath the two lazy strands, and under and up through that circle. We're going to pull, and as you can see, Humpty back bridge is on the right there. So that means we start our next one on the right. So we form our P-shaped loop, bring this over the top, under the lazy strands, and under and up through the circle, and pull. I'm not going to pull it too tight because I've got to weave some of the threads back through again afterwards, because I can't burn the threads. So we're going to bring that over again, Q shape. Entirely up to you as to, so we just alternate those sides, as to how much weave you want to have. You only need enough to pull it open and shut. Okay, this is where your darning needle comes in handy. Now I am going to thread this back over the top. I'm just following where that humpback bridge is, and I'm going to make a hole so that it's a bit easier to get through. I'm going to pop that through the darning needle like so, and pull it through like so. And then, because I don't want anything underneath to annoy the skin, irritate the skin, I'm then going to actually follow the contours, and I'm going to take it over to the other side like so. Then is cut that and paint it with nail varnish, and then we'll do the same again. Now I can't paint it with nail varnish because all my nail varnish is at Marlborough at the moment. Just going to push my needle through that, and then if I go underneath that bridge there, that means that that's also on the top. If you can follow the contours of the macrame, and you can just give it a bit of a squeeze, because you can't burn cotton. I am just going to cut that down slightly. I'm not going to cut it completely because I want to actually dab my nail varnish on it first. Just a few finishing touches left now. So what we want to do now is actually pop a decorative bead on the back. But how many of you think you might give this a go? Before I tie it, I'm going to pull that tight so that I can compare the lengths. Let's just cut these down. I need to cut off that fluffy bit there. And then a single knot should be adequate. Again, once you've cut that, I would be inclined to paint the end with nail varnish. That's almost done. Let's pop one of the gold ones onto a head pin, shall we? I'm just going to add a decorative piece just there. Do this as we would with earrings. Thread your bead on, cut it down by about 1 centimetre. Don't cut your fingers, hold on to that excess. Now we're going to turn that at a right angle just after the tip of the bead. So we're just looping that back with our round nose pliers and just open that up slightly. Now you might want to add another ring on to actually make it fall a bit better. It's lovely thread, and you know, if you'd like me to, if you like all of these, then what I can do is I can order more colours in as well. I just think that adds a really nice touch to it. Just bear in mind that obviously we'd neaten up those ends, and so you've got some nice neat knots on there with the acrylic beads, and I'll try it on. And that's the nice thing with the macrame fastening. Right, okay, so there you go. I think that's really nice. I think that's a nice statement piece. I quite like to get some really bright, some of the like bright pink beads as well, and other aqua colours, things like that I think would be nice, and also the ceramic beads as well. Enjoy. Speak to you all very soon. Bye.